basically, like yesterday, just the amount it has risen since 2017 to 2025 on on elderly. It's just it went up thousands, and it's like if we're supposed to be getting better, why is everything going up? It's amazing. It's just it's a lot, and then it's like some things you would never think would be like an assault is now considered an assault. So it's like, holy jeez, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, it is what it is, and I gotta stay up to date with this. You know what I mean? So I don't make any mistake.
Yeah.
And that was the answer to the parole board member question of what he learned at some program, some amazing DOC program that is meant to rehabilitate all of the giant Connecticut man babies that go into prison. Now, if you really had no idea what he just said, you're in good company because it only seems that the parole board member nods and smiles in agreement with the most ridiculous answer he could have mustered. Now, he seems pleasant at his parole hearing. He's got a lot of the hand movements going on, but I don't know if he's playing with the full set or if he actually has any type of coherent communication. It's well, just don't drink the water. We're about to watch a handful of ridiculous Connecticut parole hearings, so buckle up and let's jump in.
Joseph Weber, 381481.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Joseph Weber, inmate number 381481. He is serving a sentence of 3 years for possession with intent to sell or dispense narcotics and threatening second. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of September 24th, 2025. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the following programs. Tier 2, utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system. The offender's overall score in the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Sir, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I feel like I should be given a chance because of the fact that I've done a lot of mental work this time around. Before past chances I've gotten myself into, I'm aware of all the bad choices that I've made, and all those bad choices are pretty much because of drugs. And I'm a good person. I do have morals, and anybody that knows me and you ask that likes me, obviously, will tell you I'm a good worker, person. I'm just a wild card in the fact of drug use. And to be honest with you, that never really bothered me until the fact of when doing some soul searching this time, I realized I became a wild card to my son. And that is bad. I can't really get on this subject because I get emotional. So, but I know when I get out, I apply myself the way I plan to apply myself and seek help when I need help, that I still have time left. I'll be 42 in December. So as long as I apply myself and not use and stay sober, that I can get the life that I want for myself and for my son and be proud of that life. It's getting to the point now where it's just like, this is just too much. I don't want the life no more. Like I said, I made a lot of bad choices. And even though I've been in and out of programs before, it's like every time I'm in a different program, someone says something to make me realize, and it's just like, this is just, I've been going to NA a few times in here just to get myself into the process. And it's like, the H&I guys are really good, and it's like, they say things, and it's like, dude, it's like, I know I can do this. My number one choice was heroin for the longest time. And I stopped doing that for like 7 years now. And it's like, dude, listen, if you can do that, I can do anything. I can stop doing these drugs. You know what I mean? So I know I can do it. I just got to apply myself in the right way. And so far, it's like right now, I just, as long as I get that opportunity to get out and whatever halfway house I'm in, I know I can succeed. And I'm starting from the bottom this time. I mean, I do have moral support from my family. They haven't given up on me. Thankfully, I haven't destroyed everything. But as far as like financial or anything, it's it. But it sounds bad, but although I can build a solid foundation and build everything solid back up. So as bad as it sounds, it's not so bad because I am starting from the bottom and I had the chance to just rebuild and do everything the way I should have years ago. You know what I mean? So now I'm just kind of waiting for the chance. I did the tier 2, which was a pretty good group, and I'm doing voices now, which I'm about halfway through. It just took a long time to get into that. So, but as far as anything, I'm doing what I can do while I'm in here. So hopefully I get the chance that I can just keep progressing and doing what I gotta do when I'm out.
Okay, Mr. Weber, thank you very much for your opening statement. We have questions for you, and then after that, we're going to deliberate, and then we'll give you our answer, okay? My colleague, panel member Keys, she's going to start with the questions this morning.
Okay.
Again, thank you for your opening statement. I know I can hear a little background, so I'll try and speak up for you. Thank you for your opening statement. I appreciate it. It's helpful. I am typing notes, so if you see me typing, I just want to not miss anything. That may be important for note taking. So you have been convicted. Part of your conviction now is threatening. What led you to get to that point where you were threatening close people to you?
It was my anger. My anger, I let get a hold of me. And it was a lot of things prior to that, like I have the job I had recently kind of fallen off, hadn't been working out the way it was supposed to. So it was like I was out of the job. And then the way I got approached, it was just if I wasn't in the wrong area of what I was doing in life, like say if I was completely sober and doing what I was supposed to be doing, I probably would have reacted a lot differently. But since I wasn't, I reacted out of control and I just let my anger get the best of me, to be honest.
Okay, so you do think substance use was contributed to the response? Do you think if you were sober, it wouldn't have? Were you high in the moment, or you just think the mindset of a person while you're using? I know it kind of affects, everything, even if you're not really high.
Yeah, I wasn't high at the time. It's just when I am using and I'm in that life, it's always there. It's always in your mind.
Yeah. That's good that you're at least aware of that, so just everything that's at risk, because that was very close, without saying any relationship, and a very close family member, and so it's good just how far you can get, and hopefully it wouldn't get any further. So it's just another risk if you relapse.
Yeah.
I did see that you are on the MAP program, and you did, as you said, you completed voices, and I'm sorry, you're currently in voices, slated to end in about a month, completed tier 2, and currently in MAP. You have been on community-based methadone treatment before, but stopped. Is that correct?
Yes, usually I find it better to be on Suboxone because for some reason that helps me better. And the reason I got in the MAP program is because at the time of incarceration, they weren't doing the Suboxones. So usually when I get out, I just switch to Suboxones.
Okay. So were you on, when you were engaged in community release last time, were you still on Suboxone and you relapsed, or did you stop? What happened there? Just so I can understand.
Yeah, I was in the process of switching. So it was a fact of I was getting lowered on the dose of methadone and I started using the cocaine. So obviously it did not help at all. So it was just a contributed factors.
You have to wean, pardon my ignorance of this, you have to wean off methadone before you can get on Suboxone? I should know this, but so there is kind of a gap where,
Yes, I weaned down and then instead of being off it for like a week or two, I get on the buprenorphine. And that's
Okay, yep.
basically Suboxone, but yeah, and then I do that, once I'm clear of the methadone, I can take the Suboxone
Okay.
as a blocker.
What are your plans upon release this time in terms of that treatment in order to sustain your sobriety? What is your plan for relapse prevention, and is that part of it?
Yeah, it's gonna be a part of it. I plan on staying on the methadone when I'm out, just to figure out where I'm at. I don't know where I'm gonna be, which halfway house, what city, anything. So once I'm out, I'm gonna get established, find a doctor. In the meantime, I'm trying to find a doctor to talk to them about switching or whatever I'm gonna do, is try to reach out to NAs and people. I do know people that have gotten sober and are still sober.
Okay,
So I plan on trying to reach out to them and mend the fences if there is any that I don't know
Yeah.
about, to be able to talk to them. So I do
Okay.
have a plan.
okay. I think it's smart to think about peers, some social networks that you can have in there to support you and others who have done it. You said you've attended some NA meetings, but have you not attended consistently?
Yes, to be honest with you, sometimes, like if I don't have such a good day here, I'll be sitting there and I'll be getting real into my book or something. It's like I'm kind of outside of the jail. So it's like, okay, I'll just stay in this zone, relax, keep my space. And then sometimes I do go, you know what I mean? It's not just
Yeah.
on bad days I don't go, do go. It's kind of like a hit or miss.
Okay. Is your plan to attend NA in the community before you feel like using, or do you feel like that you'll attend if you're feeling tempted?
Well, they say 90 and 90, which I'm not sure if that will happen, but when I do get out and go to a meeting, I will probably be encouraged. And hopefully I meet that right person that does encourage me to do that 90-90. Basically, I'm gonna start doing meetings before anything does happen, because that's a lot of the times people have success.
I think, well, I don't know, it's interesting that you said you're hoping to meet maybe you'll meet the right person who will kind of convince you to do 90 and 90. And I think it's something that, maybe you should commit to for yourself. But I do appreciate wanting, a mentor or a sponsor or someone. I think both would be helpful, though, if you want to make a commitment to yourself and, engage a mentor or sponsor. What did you learn in tier 2?
Tier 2, it was a lot of, to be honest, it was a lot of the same material that I've been through before. But basically, bottom line is, I know I can do it. I just don't pick up. Once you pick up, you're in that zone where you're most likely gonna just slip off the edge.
Yeah.
So as long as if I feel like I'm gonna use it, if I reach out to somebody that's gonna be able to be like, nah, dude, listen, come talk to me, yeah, this and that, it's gonna be a lot better. So basically, it's like, stop thinking I can do it myself and reach out for the help, and just stop being stubborn, because here I am in jail hoping to get out to try it again. So obviously nothing's worked that I've tried, you know what I mean? So it's like, enough is enough.
Right. Yeah, I think some people think, they're doing well and everything, and then it's, New Year's or something like that, and like, oh, I'll just have a little, and then it's just, that's it, I think it's knowing, just can't at all, ever, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So beyond your relapse prevention plan, what's your general reentry plan?
My general goal is to get a job, because usually I do have a job, I do have employment. At the time, I was having difficulties, get a job, start saving up to be able to get a place, start seeing my son again, and just establish a life little by little. I plan on taking every kind of help I can get through whatever the halfway house is willing to provide. Because it's going to be difficult. Everything's very expensive nowadays, and it's going to be challenging, but it's going to be worth it. You know what I mean? So just basically keep myself on a good routine and just do what I have to do, work, and just keep my life together, basically.
Yep. Sounds good. Okay, I just want to look real quick at my other notes. Sorry, I do see about your son. Okay. Let's see, you do have a flat sentence, which you have no community supervision built into your sentence. You were struggling with housing before. Okay. You have no DRs, which is wonderful. New thoughts is still on your OAP. I guess you're on a wait list for that. But I think, and then your voices is scheduled to end. Oh yeah, that's right, November 25th. Is that still accurate, you think?
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay.
So I think I've been to like 6 of them now. Or this Thursday will be 6 sessions of voices, I believe. So, yeah.
What do you think of voices? What have you learned there?
To be honest with you, it's a lot of knowledge. Like there's a lot of things that I didn't know, and then there's a lot of things that people really should know and probably just don't really look into. So it is a little. I am definitely learning some things that I did not know, and at times it definitely changed, and I should probably keep up on staying current.
Yeah.
Kind
What
of
things?
old soul.
Yeah, can you tell me some of the things that stand out more, either in terms of things that are really important that you think people should know, or in relation to things that have changed?
Basically, like yesterday, just the amount it has risen since 2017 to 2025 on like abuse on elderly. It's just, it went up thousands. And it's like, if we're supposed to be getting better, why is everything going up? It's amazing. It's just, it's a lot. And then it's like some things you would never think would be like an assault is now considered an assault. So it's like, holy jeez, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, it is what it is, and I gotta stay up to date with this, you know what I mean? So I don't make any mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that might be it for my questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, panel member Smith Palmieri.
Thank you. Mr. Weber, why do you think you relapsed? Have you been able to look at why you relapsed and what those triggers are?
Of almost everything could be a trigger to me, to be honest, as long as my mental is a little off kilter. But as far as last time, I had a tendency to get down on myself. So once the job started going down the hill, all of a sudden it was like I fixate on that depression and I go down instead of being like, listen, man, I do, and that's what I said. I realized a lot of stuff. I do have a lot of skills. You know what I mean? And it's like, listen, just because that didn't work out, I let myself go down that rut. And then from there, it's like any little thing, it's just like I'll add it on and add that instead of being like, dude, okay, relax. That didn't work out. Boom, let's go do this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's just having that clear-headed thought. That's what I need to stay with.
So going back to your instant offense, the threatening charge, what did you hope to accomplish by taking your son? What was the goal there?
It wasn't like I'm going to take him just to take him. It was the fact of once I was told that I had to get out of the house, I was upset and everything like that. By the way, I got approached and everything, and I was like, okay, little Joe, because we were going to go hang out anyways. So I went, I took him, I left, and then I brought him back later. So it wasn't like I was trying to get at anybody or nothing. It's just the fact of I know that I wasn't gonna be able to sleep with him that night and everything. So I'm gonna hang out with him like I planned to do. And I brought him home in the amount of time unharmed, you know what I mean? It wasn't like
Well, your mother had asked you not to take them, and you were using at the time and not going to the treatment program as you were supposed to be going. So from reading the reports, it appears that there was a risk there.
well, the thing is yes, they know that I was using, but I wasn't under the influence at the time. And yes, I understand that they don't know that. In their mind, I could be. As far as they know, they don't know. So upon looking at it now, it's like, okay, I see their point. But then again, it's like, I explained this to my aunt that I talked to, is they got so upset at me, but I was being with my son day in and day out for that whole time and bringing him back, not a scratch. And we go hiking in the woods, we go kayaking, we go fishing and everything. And I've never brought him back with a scratch. And
Okay.
I always watch my son 100%. So
Yeah,
it's like,
I feel I'm going to interrupt you because I feel like you're
Okay.
missing the point. When you are involved in continued drug use, and then you take your son with you, when you know that you're still using drugs, there is an inherent risk there to the minor. So, I feel like you're just kind of justifying it. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm very concerned that you don't have a more thought out relapse prevention plan. It's really for somebody with your history of substance abuse and for somebody with your history of treatment. I mean, you've had a good amount of treatment in your past, completed the tier 2 program. I would think that you'd really have put together something a little bit more detailed for today's hearing, knowing that we would probably be asking you about that.
well, the thing is, to be honest with you, is I could have sat there and thought of the best thing to say to you. I could have written it all down. I could have wrote 3 of them, came out with the best one. But to be honest with you, and anybody that knows that's been an addict or anything knows that if you can do anything, you want all the treatments you want and have the best plan. If you're gonna relapse, you're gonna relapse. You understand what I'm saying? And the guy that was a couple before me did say, did you write a letter? And I was like, oh no, maybe I should have. But the fact is, I said, okay, it's gonna be real, give you my answers. I've never done this before. And the thing is, it's like, that's just the realest plan that I can do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we hear I hear what you're saying about, relapse but I also think that you seems to have a lot of knowledge from having participated in treatment, that you'd have at least kind of a set roadmap for yourself. That you may do 90 and 90, you're not sure. Sometimes you go to NA meetings, you've been a few times, but sometimes you don't. So it seems to me that you're not putting as much importance of the fact that your substance abuse plays in your life, and most recently, your child became involved in your substance abuse.
It does seem that way when you say that. The whole don't really go to NA here and stuff is a different story. You know what I mean? When I get out, it's a whole different reality. You know what I mean? And yes, I know, but like once I get out, I have to establish these meetings where they are, because there's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of meetings that there's people I should not be around. There's meetings that people are selling drugs at the meetings. So it's like, I can say, yeah, this is what's going to happen, but I don't know yet because the future is there. My plans, yeah, I plan on going. You know what I mean? And yes, I understand that you brought it to my attention that yes, just me using in general I have to be aware of what's going on with my son. But when I get out, I don't plan on using it at all. That's the thing.
Well, that's the goal. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, Mr.
and-
Weber, you're starting to
Okay.
repeat just a little bit, and I know that, the chair might have questions for you as well. So thank you for
Okay.
answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so, Mr. Weber, yeah, a couple things. You were driving in some of these instances. What's the situation with your driver's license? You have a valid license?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's fine. I don't have any like suspended license or nothing. I don't know when it expires because I don't have it.
Okay, but you weren't issued any kind of infractions or misdemeanor summons for suspended
No.
license? Okay,
No,
so, the victim, in this case, one of them, is your mother. Have you
Yes.
spoken to her? Do you speak to her?
I haven't spoken to her in the fact of I was told not to. So
Okay,
basically, I talked to my aunt, and then if anything needs to be relayed, then she will. But for the most part, I haven't spoke to her just because I didn't think I could. And
no, you probably
no,
shouldn't.
no.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
What, have you ever apologized for what you said to her? It's your mother, you know?
I haven't been able to talk to her. So I mean, but yes, she knows me, and she's been everything to me. My father isn't around, so she knows like deep down that everything is, and I plan to apologize. I apologized to my little brother. I wrote him a letter as soon as I came in, let him know I forgive him for what he did. I knew why he did what he did. You know what I'm saying? So, because he's
I
the
don't
one
think
that.
anything, I didn't see anything where anyone else did anything wrong but you in any of these documents.
Well, no, I'm saying because my little brother called the cops.
Yeah, but I mean, you
And
were, sir, you were committing crimes. I mean, you're threatening, and there were all these things going on in your life. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. That's the right thing to do, you know?
I understand. I'm saying that I wrote to him and said I have no hard feelings
Okay.
towards you. That's what I'm trying to say.
You shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't. He probably saved your life. You may not be alive if you were still.
Possibly, yeah. There's a very good chance, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then another thing I wanted to talk to you about is this guy that appears in all your reports, Dean Chapman. What's this? Who's this person to you? Why is he in every police report with you?
He was a bad choice of a person to hang out with. I wasn't really hanging out with too many people. And the thing is once I got kicked out of the house, it was like I really didn't have anywhere to go. And he was like the only person that I really had talked to in recent times. So it was a very bad call on my part.
You still talk to him?
No,
You have no contact with that person.
no. I had,
You plan-
to be
You
honest with you,
you plan on reconnecting with him as a friend when you get out?
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Alrighty. That's all I have, sir. We're gonna deliberate now. You can listen, please don't interrupt, and then we'll give you our answer shortly.
Okay.
Okay. Councilmember Keys.
Thank you, Sir Chair. So I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate that he has completed tier 2. He's currently participating in MAT and voices, slated to end in a month. I'm really concerned though with the lack of a relapse prevention plan. I really would like to hear him have, I understand what he said about an addict. If you're gonna relapse, you're gonna relapse. I get
Very
that.
wishy-washy, and it makes you nervous.
Yeah,
There's violent, he's threatening violence to people when he's
yeah.
under the influence of narcotics.
And the people closest to him, his
Yeah.
mother, I think his mother's a son, and then
His son is a pawn.
yeah, so I'm at a denial. He does have no community supervision built into his sentence, which I never liked, particularly since he was homeless before. Basically, he was bouncing from homes. Personally, I'd like to see him have some community support if possible. So I'd be willing to do a rehear if you are so open, but
Yeah, what do you, I mean, this is not an easy one.
I do not have Mr. Weber suitable for discretionary parole. He is minimizing
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
I mean, everything. I'm super concerned about the way he minimizes, what he's going to be doing or what he should be
Yeah.
doing in the community for his own substance abuse. The report is that he was supposed to be going to a methadone program, and he wasn't going. He
Yes,
was
I know, I
busy.
read all that, yes.
And, I mean,
His family was concerned about him. They were trying to help him and get him to do the right things, and he got upset about it.
he scores high for recidivate. He's a 5 on his drug score. And for somebody that scores a 5 at a drug score, the fact that he goes to NA
When he was,
Yeah,
and has given no thought, basically,
yeah.
to what he would do in the community first, before coming today. I mean, I don't know, he seems to think that just coming in with no plan shows his earnest, and that he's genuine. I'm,
yeah, I think he is genuine, but it's not good.
Or lack of realizing just how severe and how important it is for him to have a solid
I
plan.
think it's a lack of planning. So I do see that he has no community supervision to follow. He has not done well on community
Nice.
supervision.
No.
He's failed all but 1 of 6. So I'm on the fence, but even about a reyear though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because really, there's not a lot of time left.
I mean, he has new
That is
thoughts
true.
to do. I mean, he's missing the point of voices too.
I know.
Yeah.
I did not like the fact that he, was kind of blaming the complainant, for calling. They're
Yeah.
trying to help him. You know what I'm saying?
It's everybody
Was
else.
out of
Yeah. Yeah,
the love of his family, trying to help him get on the right path, and he's, blaming them for doing that. It's not good.
I mean, when you look at his risk factors, other than doing a tier 2 program, he hasn't done much to address like social supports in the community. Putting together a plan for that, or a plan for employment.
I know. All right. Oh, I don't have him coming back either, so,
Okay.
I mean, that's it. What are the reasons that, we'd like to use, Pamela keys?
I think inadequate evidence of offender change, inadequate release plan, inadequate institutional program participation, could do as well, poor performance, could do. I don't mean to laugh, but just,
What do you think? I definitely agree on offender change and release plans. There's not enough change for me. And the release plan clearly not adequate.
He's done some programs.
Yes, I wouldn't add that one,
Do we think he can do more? Sure.
but I don't know if I would add that for the opposite.
And poor performance on community.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine too.
Okay.
Okay, so in regards to Joseph Weber, inmate number 381481, I'm gonna make a motion to deny discretionary parole based on his inadequate evidence of offender change, inadequate release plan, and poor performance while on community release. Do I have a second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Weber, we were not able to get to a place to grant you discretionary parole today. Our suggestion is that you complete your programs, and sir, you really need to work on a release plan and be ready for the challenges that are to come for you based on your history, you know what I mean? And nobody wants to see you back here again, So we want you to be going out there with a strong relapse prevention plan that is solid, with supports in place and you're ready to go. So that way in 3 months or 6 months, you're not back,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right,
Best of
good
luck.
luck to you.
You just-
This concludes hearing. Inmate number 381481.
Okay, what did I tell you? I mean, it's just them. I learned over here when he's talking with his hands. The way it's going, he's like, you know what it is? This guy reminds me. He reminds me of like of a character in a movie. I don't know which character. Maybe it would be like that mumbling, bumbling, like gangster. Maybe it's like a 1920s like gangster movie, and he's like the muscle, but he's like mumbling and bumbling, and he can't get out of his way. Or he'd be like that guy who borrows money or does all the things wrong, and then the tough gangsters are always chasing him down to like kill him, and he's mumbling and bumbling his way through it. There's something about his character. Just imagine being a celly. He looks huge. He looks like this big man, and he's like, whoa, whoa. Imagine just like being stuck as a celly with him. I don't know if this is like the special ward in this prison, because look at who we're about to see here. This guy looks like I mean, like, can you imagine showing up to your parole hearing and being like, I don't know what's going on here, guys, I don't know what's going on here, but it's Maybe it is. Maybe it's the special ward of this prison. So let's jump in. Buckle up. We're going to do it again.
Quran Music, 438634.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Quran Basic, inmate number 438634. He is serving a total effective sentence of 731 days jail with 3 years special parole for robbery second, violation of probation for underlying charges of illegal possession of a large capacity mag and violation of protective order, and a violation of probation for underlying charge of assault second. As of today, record reflect the parole eligibility date of December 8th, 2025. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan that has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the short track offender program and domestic violence program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Basic, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe granted parole. You may begin.
I respectfully request the opportunity for parole because I have made genuine, lasting changes to become a better person. During my entire incarceration, I have reflected deeply on my mistakes and the choices that brought me here. I'm not someone who wound up in the criminal justice system by accident or was wrongfully convicted. I knowingly broke the law and I take full responsibility for my actions. I will continue to hold myself accountable as a lifelong reminder that this is not the life I want to live, nor is it the person I'm meant to be. I'm very remorseful for all the pain I've caused others. If I can undo the past, I would do so in a heartbeat. Throughout my time in prison, I have dedicated myself to programs that have helped me grow and prepare for a healthy, law-abiding future. These include domestic violence, short track, anger management, Narcotics Anonymous, and GED studies. In domestic violence, I learned how to recognize unhealthy relationships, knowing when and how to move on from toxic situations, also understanding how vital and important it is to be able to communicate freely to one another and express each other's feelings, thoughts, and concerns in a way that's free from judgment or abuse. I also learned healthy coping methods to use during difficult times. In short track, I developed the ability to identify my personal triggers, avoid high-risk situations, and focus my energy on productive and positive outlets. Through anger management, I learned how to deal with the underlying emotions that cause anger. I learned by getting to the root and stem of these feelings will help my issue with anger altogether. Being able to work through my emotions in a healthy way will prevent negative feelings from escalating. Thinking about my actions beforehand and understanding how much I have to lose by choosing to act on a negative emotion. By learning how to really listen to people and realizing how important clear communication was groundbreaking for me. In Narcotics Anonymous, I witnessed the power of transformation. People who once hit rock bottom, but yet found the strength to rebuild their lives. I learned how addiction is a disease and that it's okay to ask for help. As long as you have the will and drive to change, there is always hope. Recognizing the importance of education, I enrolled in GED classes in early March of this year. Since then, I have successfully passed the reading and language, social studies, and science portions, and I am currently working on the math section. Upon release, I have a job opportunity with my sister's boyfriend's landscaping company. I'll also be furthering my education by attending a trade school such as Porter and Chester to pursue a career in plumbing. I am committed to a savings plan and surrounding myself with positive, supportive people in groups/programs. My older sister, Caitlin, who is a licensed real estate agent and studying to become a nurse, is a strong role model for me, and I intend to follow her example. My family has been my biggest support, especially my mom and sister. Losing my younger brother earlier this year made me realize more than ever how much I need them. I would love to be home this year in time for the holidays. I want nothing more to make them proud of me. Today I stand before you not as the man I once was, but as someone who has grown, reflected, and committed himself to genuine change. I am ready to contribute to society rather than take from it. And for these reasons, I pray to be granted parole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mazik. It's a very thoughtful statement that you put together. And what we're going to do here We read about your background and all of the information that we received regarding your cases. And the interview with the parole officer, and based upon that, we have some questions for you. We're gonna ask questions and then we're gonna talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
Okay.
And we're gonna start with board member Tazowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So you talked about anger management. Have you completed that program?
Yes, I did.
When did that finish?
I finished anger management, I want to say July 7th, but she
Okay.
missed the last few classes, so it ended up pushing it to like July 15th or 16th.
All right, good. And then I was going to ask you about your GD, but I heard that you said you completed 3 out of the 4 sections and you're working on the math, right?
Yes, sir.
How much longer do you think you need for that? Have you tried the test yet?
I haven't tried the GED test for it. I'm still working on the things I had to work on for my pre-assessment test. But it's mostly just relearning the things I learned back in high school, which is coming back to me. I wouldn't say more than a month and a half, 2 months at the max before I had my complete GED.
Okay. Because you know that you were here for a parole hearing, it's less than a month that we're talking about, basically, right? Your end of sentence is coming up regardless, right? January?
Yeah, with good time.
So regardless of what happens today, you're getting out soon. Let's just go back. I had a question about what was going on with the victim, the incident where you threatened the victim with a candle. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
What, I mean, unless she gave you money, what was going on there? Why would you do that?
I was very impulsive. I was very emotional, angry, and I felt entitled that with threats of violence, I could get whatever I wanted, which is obviously not the right answer or choice. And I honestly don't know what I was thinking.
What, were you drunk when that happened? Were you drinking alcohol before that?
I wasn't drunk on that incident, no.
Using other drugs, you think? I mean, do you think alcohol has affected your poor decision making?
In a sense, I do. I think most of my decisions, I chose to make them regardless of any influence. I feel like I wanted to commit these acts. I wanted to break the law, no matter if I was under the influence of a substance. I chose to do that. Adding alcohol obviously is not a is adding fuel to the flame in a sense.
Yeah, maybe if you weren't drinking and some of these things were going on, you might have given it a second thought. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think that's my point. I'm talking about the alcohol with some of these bad decisions. And then you talked about the domestic violence program where you learned about communication and coping mechanisms. Can you just talk about that a little bit more?
The communication part.
Yeah, and coping, whatever you learned in domestic violence, what do you think is going to help you the most from domestic violence program that you took?
The biggest thing I could take away from domestic violence was how key and vital communication is in a relationship. If you guys don't have clear communication boundaries, rules, things like that, you're bound to bump heads. And no relationship is perfect. The arguments happen, but it's how you go about these arguments in a healthy way that prevails into a healthy relationship. Coping methods were more as far as to like taking a walk or getting counseling, things like this. And just knowing when a relationship has just run its course. Is it worth all the pain and trouble you guys may be going through? Or is it time to move on and move on with your life?
Looks like you had a disciplinary report this year, right?
Yes, sir.
What happened with that?
It was a refusing housing ticket.
Yeah, so you were getting threatened, you felt threatened that people were stealing from you?
Yeah, this was an isolated incident. I found myself the victim of like harassment, bullying, extortion. And at first I tried to let it run its course and maybe they'll leave me alone after a while, but it only got worse. And then at the breaking point, I decided I can't live in this unit anymore. So one day during school call, I went up to ops and I asked to speak to a supervisor. And as I'm explaining my situation to the lieutenant, he tells me, you have two options. You can either refuse housing or you can give me the names, the dates, the times of everything
Yeah.
that transpired. And me knowing in an environment like this, in a culture like this, that giving information could have made my stay here even more potentially dangerous, I decided to refuse housing.
All right, and you were denied community release, right, for a halfway house?
Yes, sir.
What happened with that? Did they tell you why?
They told me poor performance on probation, impact to the victim or the victim's family. And I can't remember the third reason, but there was a third reason. I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty serious charges. You have, this is not your first weapons violation either. You have another gun charge earlier, right? The
Yeah.
past.
Yes, sir.
You understand now that you cannot possess firearms ever in your entire life? You understand that?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I have. Let's see what my colleagues have to say, and then we'll go from there. Thank you, sir.
Board Member Barry.
Thank you, Chair. So, Mr. Mason, I reviewed your underlying offense, and I was curious to know what you were so angry for. Why did you beat up that girl's new boyfriend?
That's a good question. I guess I just couldn't handle rejection. I thought I was entitled to be with her and she could only be with me. And I just let my anger, my emotions, and my impulse just get the better of me. And it was just horrendous how I acted. I don't have a good reason to give you. I'm sorry.
I understand. And how do you feel now that she has passed away?
I feel horrible. I'm still in contact with her grandmother. Me and her grandmother actually write letters to each other throughout my time in here. So I still have a good relationship with the grandmother. But as far as her passing away and everything I did to her, I regret it every day. And I wish I could take everything back. And it tears me up inside knowing like the pain and the fear I caused her. And now she's not here with us anymore. It's very hard to handle sometimes.
Does your girlfriend know about your past and what you've done to prior girlfriends?
Oh, I'm single now.
Right, that you had a girlfriend. And do you aspire to have children of your own?
I do. When I get my life together.
How do you feel about your child, your daughter in particular, dating someone like you?
I would be angry. I'd be very angry. And now looking back on it, I feel like I have the tools and the skills to be able to realize the way I acted was absolutely unacceptable, especially from like my child's point of view. And I want to be a good role model for them if I ever have them eventually.
I mean, it certainly sounds, you're obviously intelligent, Mr. Mason. It's just unfortunate that you haven't been able to really demonstrate your ability to follow the rules when you're out in the community. And you had some really serious convictions, And as Mr. Sazowski stated, it's just a month we're talking about before you're eligible and you're in the sentence with a good time. But it certainly sounds like you have a plan in place to go out and do the right things. I just hope that you follow through. You're 25 years old now, that brain is almost fully developed. So now you understand that there are consequences for your actions. And you really have to think things through before acting. This sentence was light in comparison to what you could have received. And 3 years of special parole is not gonna be easy. It's just not, you know, and you really have to make sure that you develop a rapport with your officer, or else we'll be having this conversation again. You will have violated your, you know, parole, you know, you'll be back in prison. So you really have to change, sir. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Perfect.
Board members, is us.
Okay, so, Mr. Mazik is here, like we said, he's just got about a month between December and January, between his 85%. He rates out high for risk recidivate. You know, it's unusual to see, on a static 99 also rating out high. So it's a concern for me. He's on probation when this happened. He's been denied a halfway house. He has a drug and alcohol score of 4, which is very high. He acknowledges that alcohol has been a problem that's probably contributed to some of his poor decision making in the past. But he does sound good today, you know. So I hear he wants to change. He wants to do all these things. He's working on his GED. You know, I would like to see him finish his GED and just give him, you know, that month, that 4 weeks if he needs it to do his GED. I just, based on the nature and circumstances of this, he's got a ticket this year for institutional adjustment, and this offense was committed on probation. I'm not in favor of granting it today. I think he can use that last month to continue to work on his GED, finish his, you know, strengthen his release plan, and then go out in January and do all the things that he says he wants to do. So that's where I'm at.
Board member Barry.
Believe it or not, you know, I honestly, I'm impressed by Mr. Mason. You know, he, on paper, doesn't look like a person that I would support role for. But, you know, here's the thing, it's 1 month, and I really feel as if, you know, it's gonna be sink or swim for him. And he has to put his money where his mouth is and go out there and make better choices. He's not eligible until December, so he can still continue to work on his GED, and he has some support out in the community. I think that he understands now the magnitude of his act. I mean, I heard a lot of reflection and stuff that I read and in his reports from the sex offender treatment that, you know, he said something that I thought was pretty insightful, was that he threatened people thinking that he could get them to do whatever he wanted. And to me, that's a big, you know, that's some significant insight. He talked about a ton of things in his about boundaries and positive distortion. A lot of the stuff that I read, I was impressed. I did have him deny. I honestly did, and but I think that I would support today.
What would you have him do?
DB, no victims. I know one of them is deceased, problem sex behavior treatment, no alcohol. So I wanted to actually speak to Dr. Walker about this, because in the sex offender, it said no minors, but he was like 17 and she was, I just don't know that I really agree with that.
Right.
And I also had a halfway house. Honestly, I don't know. If I did read it right. I believe that he was like the first victim in your the one that we had you do the sex offender evaluation and treatment for, when you had, how old was she? Was she 15 and you were like 17?
I was 17. I think she was 15 at the time.
Hold on 1 second, okay? Can we just,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure that we are not setting up to face instead of.
Yeah. We'll take a 2-minute or a couple minute recess. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
So Mr. Mazik, what we went through here was just to try to figure out the correct stipulation. Because of the ages. Both of you are minors, however, the stipulation that needs to go in there and the treatment that goes along with it. We're gonna put the treatment for, no contact with minors without parole officer's permission. So when you're dealing with family and stuff like that, all of that, you just need to make sure that you're working with the Center for Treatment for Problem Sexual Behavior and your parole officer so that, you don't get jammed up on this. Okay? So, so just to go through this, I have no alcohol, halfway house, domestic violence, problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without parole officer's permission, and no contact with victims, CL.
You said half house?
Yes,
Yes.
and that takes care of it.
I think there were some co-defendants on one of these, right?
Um,
I didn't,
On the violation of protective order of
all right, there's a VOPO in 22.
You see those two guys?
Yep, I see that.
Okay.
So, let's just go with regarding Karan Mazik 438634. I move to grant parole on or after December 7th, 2025, with the following stipulations that will apply to both the parole and special parole. No alcohol consumption, halfway house placement, behavior management for domestic violence, problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without parole officer's permission, no contact with victims CL, and no contact with co-defendants Leroy E. or Tevers Johnson. Is there a second?
second.
Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
And by majority decision, you've been granted parole, and your special parole and parole conditions have been set. You heard all three of us talk about where you are right now.
Absolutely.
So you just keep doing what you're doing. And between now and December, finish up that GED. You can do it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
I just had a question about the halfway house stipulation.
Yeah. However, we put hang out for one quick second.
It wasn't.
We put a
confirmed.
halfway house, but there was a sister.
Yeah, what, you just didn't confirm it.
Right. So here's this, I'm sorry, here's the situation. So once they confirm with your sponsor, then they'll make that the sponsor. Okay, but if it's not confirmed right now, so they need to do that before they can do that.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
If you're actually seeing this from him when I was reading the script, at it.
Yeah.
And he fell within the high range. Of the sexual offense.
I did read that on the record.
You know what? They paroled him, and I'm willing to bet that we will see him get revoked. He will be in the return of playlist because he does not have the ability to stay out of trouble. And there is no chance in the world, in my opinion, that she was 15. BS. We have seen that 1,000 times. They don't get you when you're 17 and she's 15. If I had to guess, I would say probably between 10 and 13 would be my guess is how old she was. That's why he's a high risk to reoffend. That's why he needs his probation officer to give permission. That would be my guess. We don't have proof. He was under 17. He was 17 when he did it. Connecticut, just didn't even put that on his record. He's just a good old boy. And we're going to watch another parole hearing, a couple more parole hearings of these classic clowns. I mean, look at this guy. But anyways, it's this guy's record is so long, and they kept giving him little light sentences. It's all a joke. It's all a gimmick. It's all a mockery of the system, and it really is. let me just read to you. I mean, you go through it, 1027, 2021, disorderly conduct, sentence 3 months jail, but he doesn't actually get it. 12/3/2021, assault second degree, sentence 5 years jail, but suspended after 4 months. He also has assault third. He has criminal mischief, violation of probation. But don't worry, he never actually serves time because 1/12/2022, carrying a pistol without a permit, illegal possession of a large capacity magazine, and violation of probation. Those sentences were another 5 years, suspended after 1 year probation, 3 years, and another 5 years. So there, if you add up the math, just between those 2 years, he has a total of 5, 10, 15 years in prison. But they're all suspended, right? Right. So let's see. Let's continue. 11/17/2021, breach of peace, or did I do that one already? Here's robbery second. This is on 2023. Second degree. He was sentenced to 731 days jail, parole, special parole 3 years. So with like 15 years added up, he still ends up only getting the 731-day sentence. And what it is, it's two, and right, and this offense date was 6/14/2023, and he ends up getting paroled right in 2025. So it's all just a gimmick. It's all a gimmick. And it's getting you get like freebies. It's like, well, you owe us all this time. You have all these suspended sentences, but let's just violate your probation and don't worry about it. And for him to rate out on the high static 99 thing, you can only imagine how horrific of a crime it was. But what's the big deal? Let him back into the street. It's like anybody who knows anything about these type of, he needs more time. He needs more time. It's in his best interest, not just the public's best interest. He needs to grow up. And he did not take any accountability through these hearings. He lied. And what was interesting, actually, when I first heard this parole hearing, because I'll listen to them, he sounds intelligent. I looked at the screen and I was like caught off guard. And he probably is quite intelligent. He probably is, but it only makes him more dangerous. And yeah, we're gonna see him again. Mark my words. And with that, let's just jump into another hearing.
I'm Matthew Williams, 300-315.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Matthew Williams, inmate number 300315. He is serving a total effective sentence of 8 years, execution suspended after 4 years, followed by 3 years of probation. 2 counts of burglary third, burglary second, and scheme fourth. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of February 15, 2026. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender and has been reviewed. It shows the offender has completed the Voices program and is currently participating. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Williams, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having seen me. Good afternoon. I've been sitting back the last couple of days trying to think of an answer to say to you guys, and the only thing I can really come up with is that I need to be home with my family. I have a 3-year-old daughter who, when I came into incarceration, she was 2 months old, and so she's basically been growing up without me, and she's 3 years old, and I need my family, and my family needs me. And I'm not a young person no more. I'm 45 years old, and I'm sure you're sitting, you have all the paperwork in front of you and everything, and you see all the stuff that I've done over the last 20 years of my life, and I'm physically, mentally, anything you can say, drained. I'm ready to, put all this in my past and make this next, hopefully 20, 30 years a lot better. And I already kind of screwed up my first daughter's life. She's 25 years old, and out of 25 years of her life, I spent maybe 2 years with her, and I'm not trying to do that again with my daughter now. And I needed to be home with my daughter, my wife, and I don't want to do this no more. This is not something for me anymore. This is something for the young kids, and I'm done. I'm literally done.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And so what we've taken a look at your background, what you've accomplished since you've been in. And based upon that and your interview with the parole officer, we have some questions for you. And then we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to start the questions this afternoon with Board Member Barry.
Thank you, Sir Chair. So, Mr. Williams, I appreciate your opening comments. When I was reviewing your file, I couldn't help but notice that most of your offenses were committed or are indicative of a person that struggles with substance abuse.
Correct.
Your burglaries, they were concerning to me because I'm just like, your rationale when you were interviewed by the parole officer about having an argument with your girlfriend and then stealing from her family, because is that the same wife that we're talking about? The girlfriend with the argument and you stole from the family because...
Yeah, well, no, but I didn't. They accused me of it, but I actually, for the first time in 20 years, I actually didn't do it. You know what I mean? It was an argument that, and like I told the parole officer liaison, it was, my past came back to haunt me because, I already had kind of a strike against me in the beginning. They didn't really want me, to be with her because look at all his record, look at this, look at that. And, she kind of chose me.
My question really is, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No problem.
my question really is this the same victim that you married? I mean, the girlfriend, the same girlfriend that you married, or is it someone else?
Correct. Yeah, she's my wife now. Yes.
So I understand that you all had a baby. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I also know that you were supporting your habit when you were out in the community. And I hear that your child now is incentive for you to go and make better choices. Is that right?
Correct. I mean, say it again. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, your child is your incentive now. So return to the community and do better, make better choices.
Yeah, correct. I mean, like I said, with my oldest daughter, I was never around there. And since my youngest daughter's been born, I haven't been there. And I don't want this to be a repeat, and kind of like when I found out.
Oh, I get it. You mean a repeat with your new child.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly.
Well,
This is kind of it's like a redo.
Yeah, you have another opportunity, so but you still have to make better choices. I don't see that. And
Right.
that's because
Right.
you've basically been doing life in prison on installments. You're on an installment plan or something. Do you understand if you continue to use drugs at this rate, what the outcomes will be?
I'll probably die, honestly. I'll probably die because I've had a lot of health issues on this incarceration, and for me to go home and continue to do drugs, I'm lucky that I have my wife out there because my parents were already kind of,
They're done with you because they're tired of the behavior. It's just a repeat after. So tell us why. How long have you been in the MAT program?
In the MAT program?
Yeah.
2 years.
So why are you using drugs in the MAT program? Why did you get an intox ticket in April?
Stupidity.
Does your wife know that you're still using drugs in the prison?
She kind of knows, but she doesn't know. She pretty much, she's like, why did you go to SAG? And, the story I gave her, I told her I got into a fight, and she knows me better than that.
She does. And the problem is, though, if you're being dishonest while you're in there, how are we to expect you to be honest when you return? We need people that are going to hold you accountable. And if you're still not being honest, that's questionable for us, And while I understand, you struggle with addiction, we get that. We understand that. We see hundreds of people every single day who are in your situation, but you have to decide when enough is enough, and I don't see that you're done yet, Mr. Williams. I mean, you at 45, you really should be aging out of the system. You should be done with this. You should be gearing up towards retirement in the next 15 years, and that's not what you're doing. It's like you're going backwards instead of moving forward. And it's because you're stuck in your own head. I don't know what it is. I understand that you probably started out maybe self-medicating because there was some other thing going on and you just couldn't deal with it. I don't know. I mean, but I hear it frequently. And I would suggest that you try to deal with that, because until you deal with the underlying issue, you're going to continue to pick up and use with every single, adverse thing that comes into play. You really have to figure this out. You're only getting, you're going to wind up in prison or death. And then then your daughter won't have a father figure at all.
Right. 100% right.
I really do, I don't think that you demonstrated, Mr. Williams, that you're ready to go out into the community. You haven't participated in an addiction services program. You're in the NOC program, you said, for 2 years, and you're using drugs still. So you didn't do well out in the community before. It's too much. It's time to grow up and go out there and make better choices. So, you said you're talking to the. You ever heard that saying, don't talk about it, be about it?
Right.
That's what you need to do now. You need to put your money where your mouth is. All of those cliches. I don't need
I don't want to sit here and BS you either. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just tell you what you want to hear and bullshit you. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep it real with you and tell you, I do need to talk about, be about it. Like, I can sit here and tell you all this stuff. I need to be about it. Like, when you have your wife telling you though, this is the one and only time that, I deal with you going to incarceration, that's a wake up call. Like,
it. Gotta do that.
and I don't want it to be where I'm sitting in here and I have nobody to turn to. Because I see a lot of that in here and I'm not trying to be that person.
Yeah. Well,
if I keep going out there and doing what I'm doing, that's what's gonna happen.
Exactly. And you can't keep doing the same thing expecting a different outcome either, because that's insane. You can't keep using drugs and then thinking that you're not going to be arrested, they're not going to find out, I'm not going to start breaking. I can just have a little bit of crap. No, you can't have anything.
But I just don't understand is how I can put a time together where this last time I was out for 2.5 years, it's like, why can't I just, I self-sabotage. That's what I basically do. I self-sabotage myself.
Yep, you need to start trying to get those under layers, like the onion, peel back those layers, get to the root of the problem, address that, and then maybe move your way back up, Right. Thank you.
Board Member Sasaki.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Board Member Berry.
I think Mr. Williams has started to get a wake up call, but I honestly cannot support his discretionary parole today. He still has a lot of work to do. And I wish him well. So it's
I had inadequate institutional program participation, poor institutional adjustment, criminal history.
I had inadequate evidence of offender change.
So just those three. Board Member Sasaki.
I had all four. So he's got a lengthy. She had the same behaviors.
Okay. So regarding Matthew Williams, 300315, I move to deny parole based on inadequate institutional program participation or institutional adjustment, inadequate evidence of offender change and criminal history. There is a second.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Unfortunately, Mr. Williams, we're not able to give you parole. I would really get involved with some recovery related stuff in there, because that's the only chance that you have to not come back again. Okay?
Yeah.
Good luck, sir.
It's the hearing for Matthew Williams, inmate number 300315.
Wow, he got a denial. Who would have thought? I mean, I guess his one mistake is that he's not a chomo. Had he been a chomo, they surely would have granted him parole. I mean, if you've seen enough of these parole hearings, you would know that that's not even being sarcastic, right? Now, like, what's interesting is I'm looking at his information, and it's a little confusing. This hearing happened 8/11/2025, and I don't know if it's a mistake, but I'm looking at him up, and it says that he's at Bishop House, which I think is a halfway house. I don't know, maybe that's a mistake, or maybe that means something else, part of the DOC. But he's his full term date is 9/4/2026. I don't know what else to say, but we're about to watch a parole hearing for a chomo. So let's see what happens with the chomos, if that is true fruition, if they just like to grant chomos. I have not seen the parole hearing. I have no idea what the outcome is. So let's just see. Let's see what happens.
My name is Paulo Walters, 438.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
438300.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application of Paulo Walters, inmate number 438300. He is serving a total effective sentence of 10 years, execution suspended after 5 years with 5 years of probation to follow for risk of injury to child and stalking first. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of February 1, 2026. There was no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the following programs: a PSV short track, veterans program, voices, and 6 semesters of second chance Pell. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the low range of risk of recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low to moderate range. Mr. Walters, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Thank you. I just have a little bit written down here just to help with the notes. But first and foremost, I would like to acknowledge all parties and families affected by my actions. I sincerely apologize and regret the trauma I have caused. I'm a father myself of a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old daughter. And so I know I've had 4 years to deeply reflect on my behavior and how upset I would be if the tables were turned. I believe I'm ready for parole for a couple of strong reasons. I'm aware and take full responsibility for my actions. Part of my rehabilitation heavily depends on the recovery community and the ability to ask for help. I learned this prior to coming to incarceration. I had a year at the sober house and a job and saw my kids and really learned what recovery was about. And I had never knew about that part of life before. My support network is very strong and consists of my father, my mother, my ex-wife, my daughters, Grace and Sophia, my therapist, Cindy, and the AA community. I say the AA community because they were a big part in providing structure for me while I was in the sober house and putting me around like-minded people who are trying to recover. While I've been incarcerated, I've completed all required programs and have gone above and beyond by doing more self-help programs, and as well as going to college and being a tutor as my paid job. I currently have an active CDL Class A and will be gainfully employed days within my release. Most importantly to me is my diagnosis I received while in recovery, which states that I am dual diagnosed with addiction and depression. Knowing this has allowed me to directly address my issues in a supportive environment and with qualified professionals so that I have proper coping mechanisms to never reoffend as long as I live.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Walters. I appreciate your comments, and we've read about your background, what you've accomplished since you've been in, your interview with the parole officer, and based upon that, we have some questions for you. Then we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision, right? And questions this afternoon, we'll start with Board Member Sadowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Walters. And thank you for your opening statement, the apology, and your expression of regret and remorse. I appreciate that. Have you thought about why you committed these offenses? I read the story about your drinking and it was raining and how this all, happens. Did you come to any kind of reasoning in your mind on why you did this?
Absolutely. Like I said, I've done a lot of reflection and I've been open to figuring out what I need to change and how I got myself to that position. I've done a lot of therapy, and what it comes down to is recognizing that my ability to cope with loneliness and depression and isolating myself, those things together put me in a place that I've only ever turned to alcohol to help get over. And now I have other coping mechanisms and have recognized what my red flags are before anything starts to happen, before I start sliding down a certain path. I'm aware of it now, where before I was a victim to my own behavior.
You completed a sex offender program while you're incarcerated, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, what kind of things did you learn from there that can help you so that you don't reoffend when you're released?
I think the biggest thing I learned was accountability. To understand what my triggers are and to figure out how to tap into my support network and to the recovery community before anything happens. What I also recognized from the sex offender training was what it actually is and how slippery the slope can be when you have seemingly unimportant decisions that you're making, that I'm making, that further down the line will get me to a place I don't want to be. So I've learned how to recognize it from the very beginning when it seems like it's nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, using that idea in this scenario that happened with you, I mean, the first bad decision was right when you gave yourself an excuse to drink when it started raining out, right? And then it just led to more bad decisions after bad decisions, and then ultimately to you being arrested and convicted of these charges.
Yes, absolutely. I allowed my external environment to dictate how I was victim to the rain. I don't think like that anymore, but yeah. I thought about it for a long time. There's this exercise where you write out your thoughts, your 100 thoughts prior to your offense. And then you can go backtrack and figure out, okay, this is where I was thinking wrong, or this is what happened here, and then I could dissect it, and it really helped out a lot.
Okay. So I noticed you talked about programs that you've taken, but one thing I noticed is that you're on the wait list for addiction services. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't. It wasn't a requirement, but once I got to Carl Robinson, I started reaching out and trying to figure out how I can stay ahead of the curve and be productive and keep my focus with people who are trying to do the same things. I most recently wrote to join the Fatherhood Initiative, and I haven't heard back yet, but as soon as I'm finished here, I'll go write them again.
I mean, you're rated at a 4 out of 5 for your drug and alcohol score. It's very high. And, from talking to you and reading about all this, I think we can all acknowledge you have a significant addiction to alcohol, which contributed to these crimes that played a role in this. Mm-hmm. And you're on the wait list for addiction services, but like you said, it's not on your OAP.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think a program like that would help you?
Absolutely. I'm looking for all the help that I can get. I'm a student of recovery now, and it's been a little slow, honestly, at this facility. Yeah. I think because it's bigger,
there are a lot of people that need programs, so yeah, I get that, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, your crime, you know, alcohol was directly involved in this. We all read what happened, and you even went to the point saying that some of this you were blacked out. I mean, you recall parts of what happened, but some of the other parts you just have not been able to recall throughout all of this. And I mean, to me, I understand you were part of a sober house, and you started doing some of these things before you came in, right? Is that right?
Yeah, for a whole year, I was sober, going to 3 or 4 meetings a week, working all day, coming home. Well, I had to come home because I was on house arrest, but communicating with my my parole officer, staying out of trouble, seeing my kids on the weekends. Yeah, things were much better.
I really would like to have seen you take that addiction services, program to make me feel more comfortable with this. You only have, there's only 4 months that we're talking about, February to June, right? Because your end of sentence is in June. You're getting out regardless, right?
Right. Correct.
Did they tell you why you were denied for a halfway house?
They didn't. I didn't get any type of communication with anybody, and I was a little worried about that because I'm good at expressing myself, but if I don't get a chance to express myself, and you're just looking at me as a piece of paper, it's worrisome to me. But they never gave me
what's glaring to me is the addiction services, right? When I look at this, so I don't know if that's what they're looking at, but that was directly related to everything that's going on. You haven't taken a program to address it inside. I understand you were doing some work on your own outside, but it doesn't always translate into what's going on when you're incarcerated.
Right.
Right.
Actually,
that's my main concern. Let me see what my colleagues have to say, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Board Member Barry.
Thank you, Sir Chair. I mean, honestly, Mr. Walters, I was confused because in your opening statement, you said, well, I took all my programs, and I'm just like, wait. And I messaged the officer, I'm like, we have an addiction services. And honestly, for me, while I'm happy that you were able to complete the sex offender treatment, because I really do think that that's problematic, I think your substance abuse is more, of a concern to me, and that's something that you have not addressed. And so for me, I really feel like it would be premature for me to say, well, send them out there, when you really haven't had an opportunity to at least gain some skills to combat your substance abuse. So what I've learned at being in this position is that oftentimes people have these thoughts in their head prior to them actually following through with committing an offense such as yours. And when they take alcohol and they drink or they use drugs or whatever the case may be, it kind of lowers our inhibitions. And so, but the bottom, that bottom piece of I did this to your, I assaulted someone sexually, that was always something that was there. And now it's almost like liquid courage. Have you ever heard that?
I have. I just a response to that is I don't want to get into defending too much about anything, but the underlying issue was loneliness. It wasn't a sexual aspect for the most part. It wasn't about that. It was about I need somebody here with me. That was the stalking issue. Is everyone didn't want to hang out with me. No one wanted. And so I didn't take no for an answer, and I just stayed around.
And that's problematic.
Yes.
And when you think that way and you start to use, alcohol, it just makes that stuff just worse. So it's like I said, it's almost like it's already there. I'm lonely. You already felt that, but now I'm drinking, and now someone's going to spend time with me, and that's fine.
I agree. The recovery that I did was a 30-day program, inpatient. And then followed directly by a 90-day inpatient program. And there is where I learned, for the most part, everything that I've pretty much been talking about. And I really look forward to trying to go back to one of those programs, just so that I have I'm sorry?
You need that foundation. You need the foundation.
Yeah.
And what also concerns me, though, Mr. Walters, is the fact that you also received a disciplinary infraction for refusing to give a specimen. So when we're looking at stuff like that, it makes us think that you're using drugs in the prison, and that could possibly not be what I'm saying for us. The follow-up to that is, all right, you need some treatment. And so it's difficult to say that you demonstrated a level of change that would warrant your being released early, in my perspective, when you have not addressed all of your criminogenic needs prior to going back to the community. So I appreciate you speaking with you. Thank you. Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you, Board Member Sebastian.
Thank you. So as my colleague panel member Barry stated, and I stated earlier, is that he has 4. The drug and alcohol score, 5 is the highest, and we see that these crimes are related to his alcohol use. At one point he describes blacking out, not even remembering what happened. So it's significant. I understand he's done some work in the community, but he is on a wait list for addiction services, and we're only talking about the time between his eligible for parole until the end of sentence is only 4 months. And then, like you said, he's received some disciplinary reports. Some of them were a couple of years ago, but then he got one this year for refusal to give a specimen. That, coupled with the fact he hasn't taken addiction services yet, and this is all related to alcohol use, makes you very concerned, right? Going out in the community and the seriousness of what we're talking about, these crimes, So for me, I can't support it without him having completed the addiction services program. We can't control what goes on someone's OAP or how he gets on a wait list, but as far as I can tell, he's on a wait list for addiction services in the very least, right? So, I would have to do that. So for me today, I would have to deny his discretionary parole for inadequate institutional program participation and for institutional adjustment.
Excuse me.
Board Member Barry, this is a discussion now amongst us.
I'm happy to see that he was actually being proactive. He was out in the community by engaging in treatment. However, given that discipline, I'm not in support either.
Okay. And so the way you framed your decision, are you in favor of read or not?
There's such little time left.
Right.
I don't know if there's any point,
It's August, it's February.
He gets out,
He gets out no earlier.
They put him in, he's got a significant problem. They put him in tier 4, he's not gonna,
Yeah.
by the time he gets it done, they pass February.
Right.
So
There's a lot of issues going on. So
if there was a longer period of time, I would be open to that discussion. I just don't think there's enough time left.
Okay, so those two.
pretty awful considering that's how he earned my judge.
All right, so regarding Paolo Walters, 438300, I move to deny parole based upon inadequate program participation, institutional program participation, poor institutional adjustment, and criminal history. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Walters, we're not able to give you parole, which would amounted to the amount of time between February and June of next year. We really highly recommend that you get into an addiction services program while you're there and set up a really solid program for recovery when you come out. We just don't want to see history repeat itself one more time.
Right. I totally agree. All right.
It's
Am I all
now,
set?
yes, you're all set.
Thank you.
Now concludes the hearing for Parole Walters, inmate number 438300.
Wow, and I was wrong. They denied, but let's not get too excited because this parole hearing was insane. They're talking about, oh, when it rains or when you get lonely and then you start to drink, and you would have no idea what he did. So let me tell you, okay? It was September 16th, 2020, when the state police charged this man who was out camping. He entered a tent at the Hupville Pond, which was a state park campsite, and he went into the tent of a 16-year-old and he groped her. But that's not all. He was also accused of following a 13-year-old on her bicycle. He chased her down, he grabbed her hand, and then he tried to entice her to go to his campsite. When Walters found out that he had a warrant for his arrest, he turned himself in. He was charged with the risk of injury to a child, first-degree criminal trespassing, second-degree breach of peace, and first-degree stalking. He was let out on bond. They let this guy out on bond. Then it seems that while he was out on bond, this is where it's a little confusing for me. Because I see in his jacket that he has all of that happening on the offense date 7/21/2020, but then he has failure to register 6/4/2021. And he got 1 year jail suspended for that. So I think he was out on bond, and I guess there was a requirement while he was on bond, he had to register. I don't understand that. Or he served a couple of years, got out on early parole, and then got caught up again for the bond. Again, I'm a little confused. But if you can imagine someone who does that, who in broad daylight tries to goes and does that to a six, and then goes and tries to grab a child on her bike. And then the parole board talks to him about it, and they're proud that he learned not what to do when it rains or when he feels lonely or like he doesn't like what were you saying? You just can't. This guy is a dangerous predator. He is so dangerous. He's so dangerous. Imagine no matter what, he will be back on the streets. June 3rd, 2026 is his full term date. They will release a predator that will, in broad daylight, kidnap a child. It's just madness. I have nothing else to add. I don't know. I guess he's just a victim of the rain. It's raining. Oh no, what should I do when it's raining? Let me go. There's a child on a bike. There we go. And there you have it.
My other half went through my phone and she seen that I was texting another girl. I was asleep and I was woken up out my sleep. She slapped me out my sleep, and from there things escalated. Like I take accountability because it was my fault. It's my fault. I take accountability for me making the poor choice I made by staying out all night, knowing we just had a newborn baby. So I take the accountability for that. I take accountability for what I did. I apologize to my victim for what I did. I know it was wrong.
Children were pushed, shoved, and that the victim was bitten.
And I take full accountability for
Did you
for my
like the
poor choice.
victim?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think as many of you know, I don't have a lot of patience for those who commit these type of crime. DV, risk of injury to a child. The excuse that he gives is, well, he had a baby. He had to go out and party and blow off some steam. Well, man, why not be a father? Why not just do the responsible thing? Look, I'm a father of 3. I get that we do need our breaks. It's even healthy, but this is not how you do it. And then you get up, you get upset, and you bite her. Are you kidding me? It drives me nuts. And let's keep in mind that this man has a long record. He was on probation when he committed this offense, and it's hard to wrap one's mind around how this happens. But then again, it does. And it happens all the time. Now, we'll watch this parole hearing. I'll unpack it with the details that Lady Holly provided at the end.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Tobias Wise, number 403364. He is serving a sentence of 12 years, execution suspended after 6 years, and 3 years probation for 3 counts of risk of injury. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of March 9th of 25. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows that the offender has completed domestic violence, voices, and he is currently attending school. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the moderate range risk for recidivism. Mr. Wise, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Good morning, ladies, and good morning, ladies. I would like to, first and foremost, I would like to take full accountability for the poor choices I made back on April 16, 2022, when my crime was committed. Being the time of me being incarcerated, I learned that it only not affected my victims, but it affected the ones around me, my family. I know that it can go away physically, but they still could be scarred mentally. So with that being said, I took the time to learn me and find me and what made me do the wrong things I did. And I don't want to go back down that road anymore. Like, I want to be able to show that I'm a proven person and that I'm not the same person I was years ago. I know I made poor choices and bad decisions that led me to where I'm at today. And taking these classes with the domestic violence, I understand a lot of things I learned from domestic violence. Voices, I learned a lot of things from voices. It's more than one way of just physical abuse. It's comes with verbally, mentally, emotionally, and domestic. And like, I just take full accountability for my action. I'm asking for another chance at society to show that I've proven myself to be a better man.
Okay, Mr. Wise. We're going to ask you questions we've prepared based on the documents available to us, and then we will discuss your case and make a decision. We'll begin this morning with my colleague, Ms. Palmieri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Weiss. So I wanted to start off by talking about the offenses themselves. So you're charged with 3 counts of risk of injury. Can you tell me, in your words, what that was all about?
In my words, I'm gonna just give you what happened. I know I was out the night before. Like I said, poor choices, wrong decisions I made. I was out the night before, stayed out all night, and I came home the next day, and my other half went through my phone, and she seen that I was texting another girl. I was asleep, and I was woken up out my sleep. She slapped me out my sleep, and from there, things escalated. Like, I take accountability because it was my fault. It's my fault. I take accountability for me making the poor choice I made by staying out all night, knowing we just had a newborn baby. You are trash. So I take the accountability for that.
Okay, but that's not what the risk of injury charges are for. I mean, I hear what you're saying, that you should have been more responsible, you shouldn't have stayed out, but it's the actions that transpired afterwards.
Miss, it was so much going on at one time. I'm going to, like, they said I was moving around. I take accountability for what I did. I apologize to my victim for what I did. I know it was wrong. It was wrong.
I mean, the police reports and the victim reports all indicate that there was a physical altercation.
It was a physical altercation.
Children were there. Children were pushed, shoved, and that the victim was bitten.
And I take full accountability for my poor choice. Yes, ma'am. You are trash.
Because I did read that you said that you didn't remember. You said, if I hit the kids, they said I did it, but I don't remember. How is it that you don't remember? Were you?
Because I was out the night before, like I said. I was under the influence. I was under the influence.
What were you under the influence of?
Alcohol. I was drinking.
Okay. You were on probation when you committed this offense for a robbery in the first degree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what were you doing with probation? Were you
mean,
reporting?
I was reporting to my probation officer. I was working.
Okay. So the violation is based on these new charges.
Based off the case. It wasn't off of nothing I did. It was based off the case.
So, and then when I look through your criminal history, you have a violation of protective order, another assault third, and then what we just talked about, that you were on probation for a robbery in first degree. So when I look at your incident with the victim and the children, had you already taken a domestic violence class relating to that violation of protective order in 2014?
I was incarcerated, so I never got the chance to complete it. I was with the body's protective order. I was doing the body's protective order. I was doing domestic violence, but I ended up catching the body's protective order, and I was incarcerated.
Okay, so while you were incarcerated, did you do the domestic violence program?
Completed domestic violence 2018, 2019.
Okay. All right, so when you were in for the robbery, you did the
Yes,
domestic
ma'am.
violence program?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'm hearing, and we read that you did it again during this
Yes, ma'am.
incarceration.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I want to talk to me a little bit about what is different taking it this time than when you previously took it.
I mean, this time, I like last time when I took it, I really didn't get the full concept of understand everything that was going on when I took it. This time when I took it, I got the chance to actually really sit down with my peers and other people and hear their stories and what they've been through and what they did to their significant others. And sitting back and I'm accepting accountabilities, and I thought about it, everything that I did to mine and the ones around me. And it made me open my eyes to say that I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to do that. I don't want my son to think that's okay to put his hands on a woman. I don't want my daughter to think it's okay for her to let a man put her hands on him, on her.
Well, you were intoxicated. Do you think that is the reason that you put your hands on her?
I was under the influence, miss. Yes, I was under the influence. I'm taking accountability for my poor choices.
I hear that you're taking accountability. I hear that. You've said it a few times. I'm trying to drill down. I know you said that you were intoxicated, but this was quite, I think maybe you used the word tussle. This was quite a physical situation happening in that house. I can only imagine how the children got involved. She was holding a child. I would think, even though if you say you're under the influence, did it ever occur to you to just back out and leave? To leave your phone and just go?
It did. I can't say right. It happened so fast, miss. It happened so fast. I'm slapped out of my sleep. I'm literally slapped out of my sleep. She literally slapped me out of my sleep.
You are trash.
So talk to me, what would be the steps you might take in that situation in the future?
In the future, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to try to put myself in a situation like that again. I'm going to walk away, which I should have did before, just walked away.
I would think, you serve time for a violation of a protective order. When you've done that program before, wouldn't you have talked about how important it is when things are heated like that to just walk away?
Yes, ma'am.
So I read in the report from the parole officer that you said, sometimes I get caught out in the moment and get angry. I used to have a hard time calming down. but now I let it go. How do you know that now you let it go? I mean, you're incarcerated now.
Because it's still situations in here that triggers us. We still
Give
got
me an
things in here
example.
that
Give me an example.
it
Give
could
me an
be
example of when you use these skills to walk away.
with peers. For example, if I get into it with somebody over the phone or something, I just take a few breaths and I walk away and just wait. Or somebody say I had next on the phone and I'll be like, no, I had next, and they want to argue. I'm not gonna argue. I'm gonna just walk away.
And when you said that I have to work not to have a lot of free time, I have to think about me. What does that mean when you tell the parole officer? And you said that in your opening statement too, that you got to learn to. I thought I don't have the exact words, but that you've got to take care of you.
I took the time to learn me and find me and what made me do the wrong things I did.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
Gotta be a better person for me. Meaning as in when I don't want no free time, I don't want to have no free time on my hand. I want to always have something to do. Meaning as in something positive. Working, school.
I want to learn to put myself first.
That's what it said. I need to learn to. And how do you think that'll help you?
It'll help me a lot because I don't got to worry about what's going on around me or other people.
I heard what you said about taking the Voices program. And when you talked about, more than domestic violence, and there's more ways to harm a person, physical, emotional. How do you think this affects those children?
I mean, mentally, I know that's something they will always remember. And I know that's something they will grow up and always probably look at, like, this happened with this person. Like, physically, it can go away, but mentally, I know they will always be scarred with that.
That is a very true statement. They'll never forget that. So you've had some struggles while you've been at the facility. You have 5 disciplinary reports. Things like using somebody else's phone, refusing housing, having K2. Why are you having so much trouble following the rules?
I mean, when I first came in, it's like with the refusing housing, it was a situation where they were trying to put me somewhere I didn't feel with the refusing housing. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe, and I explained that to PO. I can't say her name. I don't know her name, but I explained to her what was in that situation with the refusing housing situation.
Well, you have it twice. So there's 2 situations where
But they try to put me in the same situation. When I first came into jail. Not this jail, when I first was incarcerated back in 2022. That's where the refusing housing tickets came in at.
Then you have another one at that same time frame where you're covering your window. And then why were you in possession of K2?
To be honest, I'm taking full accountability. Somebody asked me to bring something to somebody, which was the dumb on my end, putting myself in it.
That's a big risk.
Dumb. Which was dumb.
So you talked about that you were intoxicated that night. Do you think you have issues with alcohol?
I mean, like I said, I'm not a drinker, an everyday drinker. Like, I drink occasionally. Like I wasn't. That night I went out, it was just. I wanted to just go out because I've been tied down for like the last months of change with the baby was born, so I've been in a house. I just wanted to go out and just have a few drinks, and it led to me having more than just one couple drinks. I'm not an abuser. I don't abuse alcohol, none of that.
You are an alcoholic?
Somebody that abuses alcohol, what do you think that is?
Somebody that's every day, on a regular, every day.
Do you think it could be a matter of somebody that loses control when they uses it? Or doesn't know when enough is enough? Even if
Doesn't
it's
know enough.
one time a month?
Somebody that abusing, they don't know enough is enough. When they don't know when they reach their limit, when they go past their limit.
When I look back at your criminal history and you have that violation of protective order, the assault third, do those involve alcohol use also?
I can't go back there. I think I was under the influence back then when I was drinking.
Okay, and your release plan is to go to a halfway house.
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you think you need to be doing in the community? What would make you successful in the community? Because you also have 3 times you've been on community supervision and you have yet to be able to finish one of them successfully. So what do you think will help you going forward?
And with the resources and stuff, I feel like I asked for the halfway house to get back to the community so that way I could take advantage of the opportunity that they got to offer as far as with jobs and me doing more programs and help me get stable housing so that way I don't have to depend on anybody or have to put myself back in the situation to have to be living with a female or anything.
Okay. So you go into a house, because you were working, you said. I had you working at Dunkin' Donuts. Is that where you were working?
I was working at Dunkin' Donuts. I had a Dunkin' Donuts job. Also had worked at Stratford car wash and oil change. I maintained a job the whole time. I never went without a job. Unemployment wasn't an issue.
So what was the issue?
Put myself in a situation, being in a situation of making a poor choice of going out my way, staying out, and being in a relationship. That's what I come to realize. That's my number one, my downfall, relationships.
So, I mean, when it comes down to it, you need to work on relationships, how to have healthy relationships, get along with other people. So you have 3 protective orders with the 3 victims in this case that go to 2043. You're aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you've had obviously protective orders in the past.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you know what that means, right? To have a protective order?
It means no type of contact, no third party contact at all, ma'am.
Anything else that I should have asked you about?
Yeah.
So just to kind of summarize, so you've taken the domestic violence program currently and 1 or 2 times before this?
I took it this time and then I took it the last time.
All right, so you were taking it in the community, but you didn't finish because you were arrested. Then you took it once when you were incarcerated on the robbery charge, and then just now. So probably 2.5 times.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Mr. Weiss, thank you. I'll set Madam Chair.
Okay. So Mr. Weiss, in your opening statement, you said that during this period of incarceration, you learned me and you found me. So you went on to say what made you do wrong things. So tell us, what did you learn about yourself as to why you were doing these wrong things, AKA crimes?
Well, my crime, I gotta say, it happened. I take accountability for the poor choices I made.
I've heard that multiple times.
Yeah,
I'm asking about what about you? Why?
I was still like in a dark place at times, stressed out. But as me coming to jail this time around, being around a lot of people who's got time and stuff, I was able to sit down and learn from them, from the mistakes they made that put them in today. And like I
Okay,
said, I
well,
don't want to.
I'm gonna go back to your comment about stress. So stress is a part of everyday life. As adults, there's all kinds of pressure and responsibilities, whether it's raising children and providing for them, or getting along with your boss, managing your transportation, paying your bills. Life is stress.
It is.
So
Right,
you need
absolutely
some
right.
skills, right? And you have a child, you've made choices to have multiple children. You know, you don't necessarily get a break from being a parent. It is part of your responsibilities in life. So what is this dark place that you're referring to?
I'm still like, I had a lot on my mind at times where I still think about my mom, her passing. I never mourned from that. I never mourned from that. My father, he going through his situation right now where he fighting cancer and stuff. It's things I still go through, but like you said, it is everyday life, so it's part of stress. But I know I don't have no control over certain things.
Is loss. So is loss, you know, the
I
older we
mean,
get, the more people we lose in our life, and you have to figure out how to process that loss and
figure out
cope with it.
how to cope with it.
Yeah. So do you act out at the job? Are you aggressive and do you speak disrespectfully to people at your job?
No, at all, no ma'am.
Okay,
Not at
but
all.
you're willing to do that in home.
Which is
So I want to say for the record that your account does not match the police report. The police report came on a domestic call at 6:40 in the evening. And it was also indicated that you all had been arguing throughout the day, and that she did look at your phone, and that's when you got irate and you punched her and clawed her in the eye.
you saying
saw a text on your phone.
Can I say something? You saying that it's saying we've been arguing throughout the day. So
you weren't asleep at the time that this assault went down.
We wasn't arguing throughout the day, miss. It wasn't no argument throughout the day. Like I said, it's always two sides to a story. We wasn't arguing throughout the day.
I'm working off of the official police report. So I'm just telling you, your account to us today does not match the police report. And you had already said to Officer McAleese that you didn't remember. You didn't remember half the things that you did, including striking the children.
You are trash.
So I want to go back to your answer to my colleague about the impact on the children, because you said they're always going to remember it and there's going to be mental scars. It also causes damage to your relationship with them because they're afraid of you. They never know when you're going to act like you did that night. So the trust between parent-child that you should have with them has very damaged, right? And they're always going to be watching, being hyper-vigilant as, you know, part of coping with the trauma of that day, watching for signs that you're drunk again, listening for whether there's conflict starting between you and any other adult. So, you know, you really need to look into, whether it's in the facility or when you're back in the community, a parenting program, because you've got a lot of ground to gain back with your children in order to have an authentic relationship with them.
That's one thing I wanted.
Good.
That's
yeah.
That's why I said with more programming and stuff like that, whatever program that.
Also going to help you deal with stress. And that's something you have to pursue on your own. We're not going to stipulate you to go take a fatherhood program. You should intrinsically within yourself want that for the relationship. And it's going to help you manage stress as well, because you can't take stressful feelings out on your children. You can't cope with stress by drinking too much. It doesn't solve anything, as is evident by the case before us today. So I want to go back, your opening statement, you said you're just asking for a second chance. And I would say to you, Mr. Wise, you got that second chance in 2019 when the board granted you discretionary parole. So we've been giving you chances. And you've taken the programs and we're not seeing the change and the growth in you that we should. You're 29 now, so hopefully you're maturing and some of this is starting to get through to you, that this is not, you know, the lifestyle that you want for yourself. Being in and out of the facility, being under supervision. Were any of your conditions of probation limiting your consumption of alcohol?
No, ma'am. Not to my knowledge. I don't remember all the conditions that he gave me.
What progress have you made on your GED?
I mean, I just missed it by 2-3 points.
Just missed
my social
what?
study, I gotta retake it. I just missed my social studies by 3 points. I needed a 145. I got a 142.
Have you taken any of the other three tests?
It got us going in steps, miss. She got us going in steps.
So, all right. So you're on step 1 and you've been unsuccessful. What's your plan?
Keep pursuing. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep pursuing. That's something I know I really need and something I really want.
Yeah, you do need it because it is a foundation that you're going to build the rest of your life on. And you also need it to show your children that you value education so they'll stay in school and get smart. So I'm not sure in the note taking that I did while you made your opening statement that I heard you actually apologize. I know you took full accountability. You talked about your poor choices. You used when my crime was committed as opposed to, you know, language that's more accepting of responsibility for you being the one committing the crime. If the victim were listening today, what would you want this person to know about how you feel? I mean, you completed the Voices program, so you understand the impact of your choices.
If she was listening today, or if they was listening today, I would just, like I said, I would like to apologize for them, for the physical damage that I caused to them and the mental state that I put them in. And I would like her to know, like, I truly do apologize, and I don't want her or my kids to think that I'm a bad father or they cannot trust me. And that I changed, I really did change, and I'm becoming a better man as days go on.
Yeah,
and I
because
just
it is a
asked for her
process.
to accept. I do ask her to accept my apology if she isn't listening or wasn't be listening today, along with my kids to accept it. But I know it's a process and it's going to take time for y'all to still heal mentally.
Well, and you have a protective order that, you know, you need to abide by in terms of any kind of reconnection and healing that you're referring to. Do you have any life goals for yourself, Mr. Wise?
I want to be successful. I want to be successful. I want to be a businessman. I want to open up my own company. I want to do things.
Open a company doing what?
Box trucks.
Well, you need to further your education if you're going to make a successful go of that big goal. That's pretty high up there.
Pursue my GED so that way I could go get my CDLs and take the next step.
Do you see that that the result of your choice to drink to excess not only harmed a lot of people, it harmed you, and now you're incarcerated, and that it is a problem if you can't remember the details of the
Yes, ma'am.
incident.
Yes, ma'am. I see.
So, you don't have to be drinking every day for alcohol.
You don't. It
to
can
be a
take one drink.
Can I finish?
Yes,
To
ma'am.
be a problematic choice for you. Especially, as you've admitted, you went too far, didn't know when to stop. So. All right. Panel member Barry, any questions for Mr. Wise?
No. Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Wise, please sit quietly while we discuss your case. Ms. Palmieri?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mr. Weiss, he's before us today for the three risk of injury counts. He has an underlying violation of probation where probation was terminated on the robbery first, and he has an unconditional discharge on the assault. He has a 6-year sentence with 3 years probation to follow his 12 years of that, 12-year suspended years that he's currently serving. Does have a history of domestic violence, a history of a violation of protective order. As I go back through the case, there were actually 3 protective orders in place on the last case. It is very troubling that he's had the domestic violence program a number of times and he still struggles with his behaviors and how to respond to difficult, stressful situations. Seems to me he keeps saying he should just walk away, and he seems to be unable to practice that strategy. He has 5 disciplinary reports. I hear what he's saying about the explanation form, but the fact remains he's still struggling to follow the rules at the facility. He wants to go to a halfway house. He does score moderate for risk to recidivate. At this time, I do not have Mr. Wise granted to discretionary parole. I do think that he would benefit from additional programming. Ms. Turner mentioned a fatherhood or a parenting program, which he might be able to advocate for himself for the remainder of his sentence. And I do think that he needs to take some type of a tier program. I realize he's only a 1, but perhaps he could attend AA, NA. I'm not saying I know it's available to him, but certainly he could advocate for himself. And all of that, I believe, would give him the best opportunity to live in the community and be successful on this 3 years of probation. But for right now, with his criminal history, the domestic violence that's all related to it, and the robbery one, there's just too much of a history of violence to find him suitable for parole today.
I have to say, I agree with the facts as you've laid them out. I'm just not hearing the change in Mr.
So y'all
Wise.
denying,
No parole for Tate.
y'all denying me because we still going off of my past history. Like I understand, like it's past history.
None.
So
It's
Mr. Wise, your portion of the hearing is over. We're deliberating. Please don't interrupt us.
Mr. Tate is not getting parole because of anger issues. That's what's going on here. No parole.
Thank you. We've given you an opportunity to speak at length. Give us an opportunity to discuss your case. Thank you.
As I was saying, I'm just not hearing evidence of change. I know he wants to accept responsibility. I'm not entirely confident he understands what that means. Perhaps the New Thinking program could also be of benefit to him. Where are you, Ms. Berry?
I cannot support his discretionary parole either. I think that he really does have some anger issues. He has some unresolved things that he really does need to take care of prior to being suitable for discretionary parole. I heard you talk about
the fatherhood program or embracing fatherhood, he's taken that before too. So it's really a matter of what he's able to retain and how he's able to apply it to his life, going forward. I mean, yeah. So today I cannot support. I would entertain his coming back for another hearing. He's not done until 27, giving him an opportunity to prove himself. Like, I know he doesn't want to be in the prison. Nobody likes that. But the fact of the matter is the behaviors that he's displaying does warrant his remaining incarcerated. So for me, I really would like to see him do a little more programming, work on his sheet. There's lots of things he could do. Okay. So, and he's asking for the second chance, so he needs to prove that he's worthy of that fourth chance, fifth chance.
Where are you in terms of a rehearing?
I hadn't considered it, but I would not be opposed to it. I'm concerned with the most recent interruption where he's still struggling with impulsivity. And that need to be overpower people, maybe, but I do think that the New Thoughts program could be very helpful, like a fatherhood program, but maybe, and having taken it as a younger person, maybe taking it again as a little older, a newer father again might be helpful.
Coupled with anger management. Yeah.
I'm troubled with the fact that he is only a one. And when you go back through the history, a lot of the behavior, it has an underlying substance abuse, alcohol.
Well, and in the case notes in 2019, he was a one then too. I went back to see while he was talking whether his score had dropped at some point.
Yeah. So I'm not sure it's reasonable to think that he would get a tier program.
I wouldn't be willing to hear him again before November of 2026.
Okay.
So the reasons right now would be poor institutional adjustment, inadequate evidence of offender change, and I'd add inadequate release plan. If he's coming back before us, he should use this time to develop a stronger release plan. Are you okay with those three?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Wise, in the matter of Tobias Wise, inmate number 403364, there is a motion to deny parole at this time for the following reasons.
Because of anger issues.
Your poor institutional adjustment, inadequate evidence of offender change, and an inadequate release plan. I further move to rehear you in November of 2026 with the recommendation that you not get any additional disciplinary reports and you complete additional programming to benefit yourself, such as a fatherhood program, anger management, new thoughts, and continue on your efforts to obtain your GED. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's the best we can do for you, Mr. Wise. Now, ball's in your court. If you want to step up and get busy, we recommend you do so.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good morning.
This concludes the hearing for Tobias West, number 403364.
No parole for Tate. None. Mr. Tate is not getting parole because
of anger issues, and I had to change shirts midway through the hearing to my new No Parole for Tate t-shirt, which you too can now have. It's in the merch store. It's actually a pretty quality t-shirt. I was pleasantly surprised, and yeah, you can get it too. And anyways, whew. This guy, he was caught in like every lie. I like how the parole board handled this case. I do. Sometimes they handle these cases where I just want to hug. I want to hug all of them. And sometimes I just want to pull my hair out and scream on the top of my lungs. But it's interesting how he plants a story. I went out all night. I had a kid. I was stressful. What should a father? I think a lot of us can relate to being, I was doing stuff on my phone. She woke me up and no one likes to get waken up, middle of the morning, even if you're doing all the wrong things. But then There's no excuse to start smacking people around. You got all the kids there. You're being like just a deadbeat dad. But the insult to injury is that it turns out he's lying. This happened at like 6 p.m. Yeah, I do believe he probably was sleeping. Maybe he was out for the past 36 hours and he showed up and just like at being a deadbeat dad. And she's like, well, let me see your phone and see what's going on. It's like, hell no. Man, but and then he's like still blaming her. He's still blaming her, not taking accountability, saying, I was stressed, saying, I don't even do narcotics. We have Lady Holly here in this spreadsheet. He has possession of narcotic charges. As a matter of fact, he had a write up in prison for possession of it? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Let me know if you think I did too much Lindsay inserts and mic drop inserts and appropriate inserts. I don't have, remember, I'm not doing this live, so I can't read an audience. The only reading I can do, there's like an intuition that I feel like I have. And I have a hunch. My intuition is telling me I did a little bit too much of it. So let me know if you agree with me or if my spidey senses are off. His record, up here. I mean, we kind of heard from it, but Lady Holly put in the work. So let's see. It ain't pretty, and Connecticut only shows us the past 10 years. So, and this goes back to 2015, 10 years ago. So you can imagine that it's quite longer. But he has his C here, possession of controlled substance. He got 364 days in jail, but suspended. This one is, arrested on 2022. He has his, these are the felonies he just got here, right? Assault, risk of injury to child, 3 counts of that. He has his, let's see, this is robbery first degree with a firearm. So that's bad. I mean, that probably means you're pointing a gun at someone and saying, give me your cash. No one gets caught on their first robbery first degree. No one gets caught on their first charge of anything. Just think about what he's been doing for all these years. He gets 12 years jail, suspended after 66 months, probation 3 years, 12, 24, 36. So I guess what is that? I'm not good at math. But he gets out on that, and he violates his probation here, has to do 54 months, but 5 years jail, executed suspended after 6 months. But here's where things don't really add up for me, right? Violation of protection order. I don't know. Actually, it's more like, I guess, so this happened 2016. So you have, I guess this is what I'm going at. You have a charge here. We get 5 years jail, suspended after 6 months. Then he violates his probation. So I guess he has to serve much of that time. But then you also, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's quite confusing. Oftentimes what we see with these suspended sentences is that it doesn't actually make sense. They don't actually serve, like the judge will say, you're going to get 5 years jail, but you'll serve 6 months. And then they commit a felony like 6 months later, and then they get like a 5-year sentence, suspended 6 months. They don't serve that back time. We don't see it often. It's weird. It's kind of a gimmick, I think. Correct me if you think I'm wrong there. But anyways, I feel like I digress. This was a hearing, I think, handled the right way. We're not going to have to see him again until November 2026. I still hope I'm doing it. If we do cover it, it'll be in the return of playlist. But yeah, you saw the anger issue pull up there. He's not getting paroled because of anger issues, and you can now get your hat, sweatshirt, or tee in the merch store. Help support the channel. And then post your picture on the community tab. YouTube now offers that ability to post pictures. It's really cool. So with that, I'll let you go.
My other half went through my phone and she seen that I was texting another girl. I was asleep and I was woken up out my sleep. She slapped me out my sleep, and from there things escalated. Like I take accountability because it was my fault. It's my fault. I take accountability for me making a poor choice I made by staying out all night, knowing we just had a newborn baby. So I take the accountability for that. I take accountability for what I did. I apologize to my victim for what I did. I know it was wrong.
Children were pushed, shoved, and that the victim was bitten.
And I take full accountability for
Did you
for my
like the
poor choice.
victim?
Yes, ma'am.
I allowed my external environment to dictate how I was victim to the rain, you know, I don't think like that anymore. But
Yeah.
I thought about it for a long time, you know, there's this exercise where you write out your thoughts, your 100 thoughts prior to your offense. And then you can go backtrack and figure out, okay, this is where I was thinking wrong, or this is what happened here, and then I could dissect it, and it really helped out a lot.